Did you know that the worst aspect of relationships isn't betrayal, but rather the habit of enduring the company of those who do not appreciate you? It's a routine of tolerating people who exploit your kindness, your time, and your resources for years, only to respond with indifference or even ridicule. I have experienced this myself. There were individuals I considered friends, to whom I offered help, support, and assistance. It wasn't until later that I realized I was merely a convenient option for them. Today, we will explore 7 tough yet effective strategies for dealing with those who fail to value you. This isn't just theory. It's practical advice that actually works in a world where a simple thank you often goes unspoken, and kindness is taken for granted. We live in a society where tolerating such behavior is almost seen as a flaw. Don't hold on to resentment. Forgive, after all, he's a good person. We have to find a way to go on living, right? That sounds familiar, doesn't it? But here lies the issue. The more we endure, the less respect we receive in return. This isn't just my opinion. Carl Jung noted that what you fail to acknowledge controls your life. If you've been ignoring your feelings of undervaluation for years, that's a form of discontent, a self-deception. Sooner or later, it manifests as bitterness, depression, or even illness. Therefore, let's explore all the methods and strategies for dealing with those who fail to value you to greatly enhance your life. The first step is both the simplest and the most challenging one. It requires you to stop being available. This approach is known as no contact. It's time to cease granting them privileges. Stop doing what makes you convenient for them. Withdraw your assistance, gifts, and emotional support. Often people only begin to value you once they lose their usual advantages. Avoid reaching out first, and don't call for no reason. And of course, don't offer your help unless they specifically ask for it. Research shows that 80% of such individuals won't even notice your absence. Those who do will likely start behaving differently. Reclaim your convenience. Have you been used like a free taxi service? Say, "Sorry, I can't make it today," without any further explanation. Have you ever felt like you were used emotionally, like a crutch? It's time to stop being an unpaid therapist. Those who reached out to you did so only when they needed something. Now, you should be perpetually busy, and as I've mentioned before, 80% of those people won't even notice your absence. They'll simply find someone else who is easy to rely on. This serves as an excellent filter. Now you can clearly see who truly valued you. About 20% will be the ones who reach out and ask, "What happened? You've disappeared." Those are the individuals you can work with. They might genuinely begin to respect you. The truth is, people tend to appreciate only what they stand to lose. While you remain readily available, you're like the air to them, unnoticed yet essential. But once you step out of their reach, they either struggle to breathe and come to value you, or they seek out a different source of air. At that point, there's truly nothing to regret. You might think this feels like manipulating people, but in reality, it's about setting boundaries. If someone truly cherishes you, they will notice your absence. If they don't, then you've simply made room for those who will appreciate you for who you are. The second approach or step in dealing with those who don't value you is to compare their behavior to that of others. Let's conduct a simple experiment. Recall how this person interacts with those they genuinely respect. With their boss, they are polite, attentive, and always accessible. They smile and engage in conversation with the right people, never showing up late. However, when it comes to you, their responses are curt, and they forget important matters that matter to you. Now ask yourself this: would my friend or partner treat someone they respect in this way? If the answer is no, then it's not your fault. It's their choice. It's not that you are overly demanding. They consciously decide how to treat you. So why does this method work? The answer is quite simple. You stop deceiving yourself. In the past, you might have made excuses like, well, he's just that kind of person. I must have done something wrong. But now you see the truth. He behaves differently with others. This means he is capable of change. But it doesn't want to engage with you. You resort to cold calculation rather than emotions. Is it frustrating? Yes. Yet now you possess insights into this misunderstanding. As Jung once said, what lies in the shadows controls us, while what we bring to light is already within our grasp. Just stop expecting those people to change. If someone has the capacity to be caring but chooses not to be for you, that's a conscious decision. Reallocate your energy towards those who reciprocate your feelings. In Russia, there's a saying, a tit in the hand is worth more than a crane in the sky. But if that tit is someone who doesn't appreciate you, maybe it's better to let go and search for those who will genuinely value you. I used to think that if I just waited a little longer, they would realize how important I was to them. But then I noticed how these same individuals transformed when they were around people they deemed better than themselves. That's when it became clear to me. It's not that I wasn't good enough for them, it's that they weren't good enough for me. Since then, I've followed a simple rule. If someone prioritizes you last in their life, don't even give them a small spot in yours. Have you ever noticed how differently people treat you compared to others? Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear your story. The third method on our list is the silent exit. Distance yourself without unnecessary words. And you know what's strange? The more we try to explain to people that they're hurting us, the less they seem to understand. They either don't believe it, oh, come on, you must be imagining things. Or they get angry. What, are you upset? You're so sensitive. Or they pretend to understand, but in a week, the same situation arises again. So now, let me tell you about the most powerful yet subtle way to make someone realize that they are losing you. Without arguments, without lectures, and without those endless let's talk moments. Just start to fade away. For instance, where you used to text first asking, how are you? Now you wait for them to message you. Previously, you would suggest meeting up. Now, let them take the initiative. Where you once kept the conversation flowing, now you respond briefly but politely. You simply stop being an emotional donor. If they complain about life, quickly steer the conversation elsewhere. If they seek your advice, tell them, I'm not the best advisor on this matter. They expect you to entertain them, while you find yourself saying, sorry, I'm just not in the mood to chat right now. If they truly need you, they'll make an effort to reach out. If not, they probably won't even notice you're gone. And believe me, that's far better than the tedious drama of trying to resolve conflicts or dissect misunderstandings. In our countries, there exists a detrimental habit. When someone feels hurt, they are expected to explain why. People even take pleasure in shaming you when they realize they are at fault, proclaiming it's the offended who suffer. But don't heed their words. Consider this. Can someone who has disregarded you for years truly understand you after just one conversation? Were they not aware that your feelings were being ignored? They were, but it suited them just fine. Silence is not a sign of weakness. It is a test for them. Can they endure without your attention? And for you, can you thrive without their indifference? Let me share a secret. You absolutely can. There's nothing to be afraid of. I once had a friend. Our friendship spanned 14 years. I was always the one to check in first, to wish him a happy birthday first, and to suggest meeting up first. Then one day I decided, enough is enough. And he stopped writing. A month passed, then 2, and then a year. Yet he never reached out. That's when I realized it wasn't friendship. It was merely my illusion. And what about reality? I was simply forgotten, never once crossing their mind. What should I do if they actually ask me? Where have you been? Don't make excuses. Don't say, "I was busy." That only gives them a reason to think you're still invested. Instead, reply, "It just happened that way," and change the subject. Observe their response. If someone genuinely seems concerned, it might be worth giving them a chance. However, if they disappear again after your reply, it shows they were only curious, not invested. Carl Jung once said, "Loneliness is not the absence of people around you, it's the absence of understanding." If, after your quiet departure, the person isn't frightened of losing you, it means they've emotionally left your life long ago. Now you face a choice: continue chasing after them, or finally turn towards those who are approaching you. The fourth method is the mirror method. Begin to treat people exactly as they treat you, not harshly, but simply as a reflection. If they don't write to you, then you won't write to them. If they show no interest in your life, you won't show any interest either. Imagine that every person is like a mirror, reflecting back exactly what you show them. If you've tolerated their indifference for years, it's no surprise. They've just grown accustomed to not appreciating you. But today, we will change that dynamic. You will become their reflection. How does this work? It's quite simple. You stop giving more than you receive. If they contact you once a month, you respond with the same infrequency. If they forget to ask how you are doing, you won't ask either. If they cancel plans at the last minute, suddenly you have things to do as well. You cease to be accommodating. Previously, you adjusted to their schedule. Now, you'll only do so if it aligns with yours. While you used to overlook rudeness, now you'll say, "I'm sorry, but that's not how you speak to me." You let them feel what it's like. People quickly grasp the rules of the game when they find themselves in your position. So, why is this approach more effective than simply remaining silent? In our cultures, there's a saying, "What you sow is what you reap." Yet, many seem to forget that this principle works both ways. When someone doesn't reach out, it implies they don't regard you as important. If they fail to express gratitude, they see your assistance as something owed to them. And if they don't stand by you in tough times, it indicates they're only interested in their own benefit. A mirror merely reflects the truth back to them. I had an acquaintance with whom I communicated for many years. I would always ask how she was doing, offering my support and help. Yet, she would respond only when it suited her. One day, I decided to change my approach and reply to her in the same manner she had with me. During the first month, she didn't even notice, but by the second month, her notice started to increase. By the third month, she asked, "Why have you become so distant?" I replied, "Me? I'm just behaving the way you do." Initially, she felt hurt, but then she started to reflect on it. 6 months later, she began to call me first. It wasn't every time, of course, but definitely more often than before. Because a mirror tells no lies. It merely reveals a person's true self. However, if one sees their reflection and chooses not to change, that is their decision. It is your choice to stop investing energy in them. Do not be angry. Do not harbor guilt. You may be blamed. You have transformed. Simply respond, "No, I have just ceased to be who you once relied on." If the mirror fails to reflect the truth, it means that person is unable to see themselves from an outside perspective. This means that a person will never change. Jung said that we recognize in others only what exists within ourselves. However, this principle works in reverse as well. If someone perceives you as a friend, they will act like one. If they see you as a convenient person, they will take advantage of you. Become a mirror, and you will immediately understand what role you truly play in their life. Personally, I find this method to be consistently effective. For many years now, this method has been around. Have you ever had the chance to apply it in your life? Did it work for you? Share your experiences. Let's discuss. The fifth method that can assist you is the method of reciprocity. Simply put, it's time to shift your focus from pleasing others to fostering mutual respect. Stop investing your energy, time, and emotions in those who take your kindness for granted. Instead, direct your efforts toward people who genuinely appreciate you without any manipulation. If someone doesn't reciprocate your feelings, remember that it's their choice, not your fault. You hold the power to decide whether to stay in a one-sided relationship. Rather than trying to win over those who don't value you, embrace the principle of reciprocity. Invest only in those who are willing to invest in you. This is not selfishness, it's wisdom. Ask yourself some important questions. Does this person often take the initiative? Do they remember your needs as much as you remember theirs? Have you become a convenient individual whom they use? Gently push aside those who take but do not give, allowing yourself to focus on those who celebrate your successes. Dedicate your time and energy to activities that bring you joy and to yourself, because you deserve the same care as anyone else. There's no need to explain or justify your actions. You are not obligated to inform anyone that you are withdrawing your efforts. Simply take action and become a little less available. Stop initiating meetings or helping out first. When someone asks for something, allow yourself to say no from time to time without guilt and observe their reaction. True relationships will reveal themselves in this process. If the person notices the change and inquires about it, that provides an opportunity for an honest conversation. If they disappear or become upset, it means you were valued only for what you provided. Understand that one-sided relationships can be draining. They resemble a black hole. The more you give, the more they expect in return. True reciprocity nurtures healthy relationships built on respect, gratitude, and genuine joy for one another. Carl Jung once remarked that the most dangerous trap for a person is their unconscious relationships. And indeed, have you noticed how often we cling to those who have long ceased to appreciate us? We tolerate their coldness and justify their indifference simply because we fear facing the truth. If someone does not reciprocate your feelings, it means you are not valued by them. Jung referred to this as the shadow of relationships, where one party gives while the other just takes. And do you know what's most perilous? The longer you allow this dynamic to continue, the more your soul starts to believe that you are not worthy of better. But here's the truth. Your worth is not determined by those who fail to recognize it. If you are not appreciated, it's not a flaw in your heart. It's the blindness of the other person. Jung proposed a simple approach. Recognize whether this person truly does not value you, or if it's just a perception you have. Write down 3 examples. Engage in conversation, but approach it as an observer rather than with accusation. I've noticed that my efforts often go unacknowledged. Why is that? If nothing changes after the discussion, step back. Do so with grace, not anger. Yes, it hurts. Yet the pain of separation pales in comparison to years of quiet humiliation. And even if you lose a friend, what of it? Jung would say you're not losing a friend. You're making space for those who will take you seriously. Remember, the world is filled with people who won't understand you, and that's perfectly fine. They have that right. However, there will also be those who see the light within you, and they are the reason to keep going. As Jung advised, the best thing you can do for those who underestimate you is to step out of their lives and begin a new chapter for yourself. The next approach is the method of open conversation. Engage in a candid dialogue with the person about the issue at hand. Look them straight in the eye. For instance, if you have noticed that your efforts are going unrecognized, it's crucial for you to address this change. If the person remains unresponsive, it serves as a clear signal to consider actions from point 3. Imagine this scenario. You've been helping your neighbor for months, repairing their car, signing documents, and so on. Yet when you need assistance, they suddenly seem overly busy. Sound familiar? This is a common occurrence in our regions, specifically in Russia and the former USSR. We silently accumulate resentments, feeling too uncomfortable to express our feelings directly. Eventually, we explode over trivial matters, or we come home and unleash our frustrations on our loved ones. I've been through this myself. I endured it for years before deciding to distance myself from those who didn't appreciate me. Fortunately, there's a better way. It's through open conversation. Speak to the person clearly, without vague phrases, right to their face. Let's establish this. If you genuinely don't want to help, just be honest about it. Otherwise, it feels like I'm always the one ready to support, while you never are. After that, there are generally 3 possible outcomes when dealing with reasonably sensible people. The first one is that the person apologizes and makes amends. He simply failed to notice the problems. It's wise to keep such people in your life. The second type will start to defend themselves. What do you mean? This is a warning sign. The third type might not understand at all, or could blame you instead. In that case, feel free to apply method number 3, distance. Remember what Carl Jung said? What remains unconscious controls us. As long as you stay silent, the situation will continue to repeat itself over and over again. From my experience, I can say that when I began to speak directly, without aggression yet also without flattery, about 50% of people started to treat me better. As for the others, well, that's their choice. The main thing is not to be afraid. In our countries, it is often believed that one must endure. However, patience does not equate to silence. It is both possible and necessary to voice your concerns. This is the foundation of healthy relationships. If, after an open conversation, nothing changes, then we must take a firmer stance. But I will address that in detail in one of the upcoming videos. The next method that will undoubtedly be helpful is leaving without any regrets. There will come a time when you need to take the most difficult yet liberating step, simply walking away. I remember holding on to a relationship for years where my presence was taken for granted. Like many, I thought that if I just waited a little longer, perhaps the person would change. Those thoughts haunted me for quite some time. It wasn't until one day that I realized nothing was actually changing. Despite honest conversations and all my efforts to reconnect, the person remained the same. This only meant one thing: they wanted it that way. In our realities, particularly in the post-Soviet space, we often succumb to a kind of unclear self-sacrifice. We are told to endure for the sake of the relationship. We must always forgive. Who, if not you? Yet, Carl Jung wisely remarked that where there is no reciprocity, there can be no true connection. What exists instead is mere habit and dependency. If you choose to leave, it's crucial to do so in the right way. Without dramatic scenes, since everything has already been laid bare in open discussions. Without feelings of guilt, as you've given the person every opportunity. And with gratitude, recognizing that even negative experiences can teach us something. You know, I've walked away from such relationships more than once. And you know what's most surprising? New people quickly filled the vacant spots. These were the very individuals who had recognized both my time and my kindness from the very first day. Imagine your life as a book. Some characters appear for just a single page, while others linger for an entire chapter. Ultimately, it is up to you to decide who will remain until the very last page. Don't be afraid to turn the page, my friends. Trust me, the new chapters often prove to be much more fascinating than the old ones that have long needed closure. If you find it daunting to take that step now, just envision yourself a year from now. How will you reflect on this moment? With bitter regret for not having left sooner? or with a sense of relief that you finally set yourself free. Choose wisely. You truly deserve the best. There's an old truth that never loses its relevance. How you treat yourself is how others will treat you. You don't have to be accommodating to everyone. You are not obligated to tolerate those who overlook you, and you certainly don't need to justify their behavior. Try these methods, not out of spite, but for your own sake. It's time to truly feel. Your time, your emotions, and your life, they are all incredibly valuable. So how do you treat those who do not appreciate you? I'm eager to hear your thoughts. Let's discuss this together. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with those who may benefit. It might inspire others to transform their lives for the better. I hope you won't miss my upcoming videos on self-reflection, relationship psychology, and philosophy. See you in the next ones.